The network isn't sufficiently agile for the cloud era. This was a core founding principle of Alkira. Agility is at the core of why enterprises move to cloud. Cloud is a competitive imperative. It's where innovation is occurring. This agility is essential for an enterprise driving innovation, responding to customer needs, facing threats from digital disruptors and incumbents alike. Cloud brings native agility required in today's world. DevOps has evolved to maximize on this agility. Constructs within DevOps like automation, rapid iteration with faster release cycles are enabled by the underlying infrastructure being largely abstracted. It's less about managing the underlying infrastructure and more about using APIs and service calls to enable rapid application development. The power of this abstraction further enhanced by the fact that the underlying infrastructure is elastic. It grows with you. You can start with minimum upfront investment, test and iterate as needed, scale as necessary in a way that gives you a velocity and agility that would not have been possible with traditional approaches. There are a lot of reasons enterprises go into cloud. Challenges may vary by industry, sector, or company, but there's a core theme associated with cloud that's well defined by the term agility. In our founders assessment, that wasn't the case for networking, which tends to be far more fragmented. If you zoom out and look at your traditional enterprise architecture, it's a myriad of siloed solutions that have been stitched together to meet the end-to-end workflow. That results in fragmentation and silos, making it complex to manage. Cloud-native constructs are a microcosm of this complexity. Hop-by-hop configuration, manual intervention, and complex fragmented troubleshooting are the norm. All of that complexity makes it slow to deploy. It's CapEx heavy due to substantial investments such as co-location and dedicated bandwidth. Delays are common. And once in cloud, there are limitations to work around that are not consistent across clouds. Azure, AWS, and GCP each pose their own unique challenges. Decades of experience in networking led our founders to the insight that a new way of thinking is needed. Cloud and DevOps are based on the business imperatives of agility and innovation, while the network is based on outdated paradigms. Your networking dollars are as precious as any other investment. Your networking dollars should accelerate digital transformation, not hinder it. In talking to customers, we find that is often not the case. This is why we believe complexity is the enemy of agility. Applications and user traffic are increasingly destined for cloud. Enterprises are in various stages of this journey. Some far down this journey backed into complexity and looking to simplify. Others earlier in the journey headed for impending complexity. Alkira is making the case that simplification is the way to go because complexity is the enemy of agility. That is where the idea of the Alkira Network Cloud was born. The hexagons you see on this diagram are what we call cloud exchange points. You can think of them as virtual points of presence. These are software-defined constructs that can reside anywhere the cloud service provider has a presence. We believe as enterprises are at an inflection point, the future of networking is optimal agility delivered as a service. In today's world, it makes sense for networking to be consumed from the cloud. It makes sense to get rid of silos that hinder agility. Alkira is delivered from the cloud and behaves like the cloud. It unleashes the value of cloud agility in a way that aligns with DevOps. It leads to speed and velocity, agility and portability that just isn't possible with native networking constructs. It abstracts away the complexity for networking, much like cloud did originally for compute and storage. It is delivered as a service with built-in automation. For reference, let's look at a prospective Azure design. This is what networking in a single Azure region may look like. You're building a highly available, robust network architecture. Because this is cloud, today that means manual hop-by-hop configuration and management. That's just natively the way cloud works, regardless of the cloud in question. From a networking perspective, cloud is rather rudimentary. For example, simple traffic steering is a common challenge. Enterprises will service chain multiple firewalls and separate traffic paths to remediate against it, and that gets very complicated. Segmentation is often policy-based, done per element with many touchpoints. That approach is error-prone and difficult to operationalize. That can have vast security and compliance ramifications. The underlying logic shows the complexity even more. In this design, you have networking elements configured hop by hop. Traffic flows through multiple layers of firewalls fronted by a load balancer, all to make symmetrical traffic steering work. There's a separate path for ingress and egress, a myriad of considerations in designing for traffic flow, multiple breaking points, making this a tremendous operational challenge. As you scale, it gets even more complex. Again, complexity is the enemy of agility. If the driving value of cloud is the underlying agility and associated business value, this, in our view, is the wrong approach. These are decisions that have long-term ramifications in terms of the ability to pivot. All the manual work in the first region needs to be repeated for the second region. Complexity is exponentially increased. Most organizations have by default become multi-cloud. Thinking about your future state, challenges that seem manageable today will continue to erode your agility in the months and years to come. Alkira is all about simplification and bringing the agility that exists in DevOps to networking. At the core of Alkira is the concept of a cloud exchange point, essentially a virtual point of presence atop the hyperscale cloud provider. The first step is to choose your cloud exchange point. These are available all over the world. You can have one or many of them. Next, you define segments. What makes Alkira unique is that a defined segment is end-to-end multi-cloud. Next, you connect your data center and your sites. Next, your preferred cloud provider. In 4 simple steps, you now have full segmented, highly available connectivity between your data center and cloud applications. Next, you insert firewalls. No complex flowchart required to work out the complexity here. Alkira takes care of the underlying complexity in our routed fabric. You maintain granular control of defining and enforcing policies, while we take care of delivering agile networking. If you want secure inbound or outbound internet, that's a simple add. No incremental design work associated with multi-cloud. The design work you did up front applies as your cloud footprint expands. Again, segments are defined once and extended to other cloud exchange points. Because CXPs are natively multi-cloud, your segments are automatically multi-cloud. Segments cannot communicate without explicit policies. Easy to deploy and manage. Firewall insertion, symmetric traffic steering, segmentation, granular policy enforcement, all constructs that are native to Alkira. So is scaling the way you would expect from cloud. If you need to scale, contract, reallocate resources to a new business unit, or move into a new geography, the point is total agility the way you would expect from cloud. That's what Alkira gives you. Mergers and acquisitions are the ultimate test in agility. Companies with differing standards resort to expensive and slow replatforming. Alkira is a much more agile way to keep existing standards and unify them via a global multi-cloud fabric, laying the framework for seamless, segmented end-to-end workflows. Applications migrated and business processes merged in a fraction of the time, consistent with cloud-like agility. Simplification is key to agility. Networking based on outdated constructs is a drag on innovation with real and material consequences to your business. Decisions made today have long-term ramifications in your ability to innovate. Alkira helps you maximize your cloud investments by providing a unifying global fabric based on a rich stack of networking services. This is a level of agility just not possible with native cloud constructs or legacy networking paradigms. This is networking designed for the cloud era.